All right, I guess we got that under control. Anyway, some of you are in the chat room. I have to switch my glasses in order to see that. The chat room's gray today. Oh, no, there it is. It didn't go around. Ezzy, glad you're back. Thank you, Ezzy. I really appreciate all of your help and encouragement and your prayers. Sonnet's in the room. Mac's back. John Barnes. How you doing, John? Russ is here. Olga's here. It's nice to be back, Olga. Thank you very much. I had one listener this week when I sent out the letter comment that, oh my goodness, thank you. You know, I had no idea what was going on. Just all of a sudden you disappeared. That was kind of the attitude. And that's pretty much the way it was. I don't think I told you I was going to be. Did I tell you I was going to go away? I don't know that I did that. I probably did. But I went to see the doctor the first Wednesday in May, and he discovered that I had 3 blockages in my heart. And he scheduled me for surgery. And it's a horrendous surgery. I didn't know very much about it until afterwards, started reading about what he did to me. But they crack your ribs. I knew that. People told me that. And I want to see my scars. You have a thing here and a little thing here. But I also got other stuff, all legs and all the little sewed up spots all over the place. And the spot here is the only spot that hurts. It hurts like a bad sunburn. I have a very lightweight, silky kind of a shirt underneath this one. And under that I have taped a, I don't know what it's like a gauze pad to try to keep all the movement off of it. It's kind of been interesting to do. But when they got in there, they found there were 4 blockages. And I'm told that the surgery was between 6 and 8 hours. I don't know. It took me an entire week. Well, not an entire week. It took me 5 or 6, at least 6 days to come out of that stupor, to come back to where I knew what was going on. That's, I think, how deep they put you down. And they shut your heart off. They shove a tube down your throat into your lungs so that you can have oxygen, otherwise your body would die. But your heart is shut down and your system is hooked up to a heart machine. So they take you as close to death as they can get you, shut it all off. And then they start into your leg and pull out veins that they can then take and sew and go around the things that are already there. So not only do you have pain in the chest, you have pain in your leg. And you don't know why. I've got stitches in my legs. I hope I go to the doctor this Thursday. I hope he's going to take them out. But down around my left ankle, every once in a while, for no apparent reason, is an ungodly pain. And I've talked to people and they say, yeah, that'll last for a while, sometimes years. Apparently, we just got it again. Apparently, they hit nerves. They do things. But I'm grateful to my doctor. Coming out of this thing, I was home on day 8. I expected to be in the hospital for 2 weeks. I got out on the 8th. I was doing that well. My wife was not happy because she wasn't prepared. And over the next 10 days, every day I felt improvement. The first week was difficult sleeping. Lay in the bed and fall asleep for half hour or an hour, then get up and go into study and work for an hour and go back to bed. Do it again. And then during the day, fall asleep in a lounge chair. So it's not a lot of fun. And then take a handful of pills 3 times a day, plus pain pills 3 or 4 times a day off that, so that you don't have anything. Appreciate your prayers. It's been an eye-opening experience. It has not been an agonizing, horrible, terrible thing. But it has been either the worst thing I've been through or very close to it. And I'm not looking forward to going through it again. But the doctor assures me that at my advanced dotage, I probably won't have to go through it again. I'll die before this thing wears out. And after all, that's the point. Not to fix the body so that you can live forever, but so that I can outlive my wife. She tells me on a routine basis, if you die before me, I'll kill you. She doesn't want to be left alone. I don't blame her. I got a new lease on life. My parents both had this operation at the same time of life. That's how I know I didn't do anything. It came to me from birth. And they both lived to be 92 years old. So I got a good shot here at outliving my wife, and I hope that I do. I appreciate your prayers. Some of you sent gifts, and I really appreciate that. These things can be expensive. And of course, not working, I don't have the income anymore. I would ask that you pray for me because I'm not going back to work. I had an epiphany, I think, or maybe just a come to Jesus moment. I don't know which. But I know leaving my church, retiring from the pastorate after almost 40 years, I was ready to stop doing that. And I was ready to just go into something secular, something that was just for money, and kind of coast out. But in the midst of all of this, I think God has spoken to me in a different sort of way. And I believe that he wants me to become more involved. And so I'm going to approach my pastor so that he understands what I'm thinking and the kinds of things that I'm doing. And I'm going to start a visitation ministry. All churches have people that are shut in. If they aren't, they have parents who are, or friends, neighbors, people who get sick, or they just are in advanced ages and they can't get out. And I know they would appreciate the visit. And then nursing homes. There's probably 24 nursing homes in this area. And to choose some that are close by and see if they'll give me permission to visit in these rooms and pray with these people and encourage them. Some people are in nursing homes because their family doesn't want them anymore. They probably won't tell you that. But it might be an encouragement to them. I don't know. So you pray for me. I'll pray for you. I still got the legal media thing that I haven't really done much with. My boss, suddenly the jobs just fell apart, didn't have enough work. But you pray that he'll have a whole lot of work. This is an easy gig. Set up some TV cameras and audio equipment and film this thing and go home. Do about 2 of those a week and make more money than I was making before. So you pray for me. And I do know that you do. Those of you who are in the chat room especially, and there are others. Sonnet thinks that being alone stinks. I think, I'm not coming to visit you, darling. I'm not coming. Well, you pay for it. As some of you know, Sonnet lives on the far left coast. She lives in probably the best place there is, near San Diego. I used to have a love affair with San Diego when I found out its mean temperature year-round was in the high 70s somewhere, I thought. And I'm not a cold person. I can't talk. Oh, talking about cold, my hands warmed up. Have I ever told you about my cold hands? For the last 15 years, those of you in my church in Wilmington, you know what I'm talking about. I would rub my hands on my pants walking to the back of the room to shake hands, and people would say, "Oh my, your hands are so cold." 15 years my hands were cold. They're not cold anymore. I've written a little article about when I think all this began, and it began back then. My wife had left me for a baby. Was going running back and forth between Charleston and Wilmington. I was at home a lot. And I found that if I drank coffee, I didn't get hungry. I know. Don't send the letters. Don't text me. And I started passing out. After I'd done that a couple of times, they put me through about $8 million worth of tests, all sorts of things. Couldn't find anything wrong with me. But at that point in time, I think, is when my body started to react. These veins started to plug up. They probably weren't plugged up enough to be found on the machinery, but they began very slowly to plug up. But I didn't know it, and I didn't stop, and I don't remember feeling weak or anything, and any weakness that I might have felt I chalked up to being old. You're 75 years old, you're supposed to not have the vim and vigor of a 30-year-old, so deal with it. But I really believe when we got down to it, that's what it was. Each one of these veins or arteries that were plugged up, another one had been formed to compensate for it. My heart had found another way to get the blood. So when they were all done, they redid all 4 of the blockages, and my hands warmed up. Who knew? You got cold hands? Go to a doctor. It's been interesting. I like puzzles, and I like to learn, and I like to know about my body and things, and this has been one of those things. Anyway,